Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. And check out that eye, that's exactly what we want to see. Woo, look at that panel, baby. And that, as they say, is that. The king is back. And by king, of course, I mean Conan. Today on Near Mint Condition, I, the Uncanny Omar, am going to give you my advanced look at the King Conan, the original Comics Omnibus Volume 2 from Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. So please join me. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to the folks at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics for sending us an advance copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on December 16th or 17th, depending on where you get your books. I say that, but as you all know, distribution has been a nightmare these days. Some people may have already gotten this. Some people got this maybe last month and are wondering why just now doing the video, because officially the date of release is December 16th or 17th. I'm so excited for this book. This is stuff that I had never read, and I just put it down, and I could not wait to talk about it. Anytime there's a new Conan omnibus, I get excited because it's stuff either that's being reprinted that I did read or new material that I haven't. And this stuff is all new material done by my favorite comic book artist of all time, and that is Marc Silvestri. But he's not alone. Alan Selenitz doing the writing for half of the book, and then Don Krar taking over, Mike Dougherty doing the art, as well as Judith Hunt. By the way, this isn't the only cover. There is a direct market cover, and that direct market cover is only available at places like cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, bdcosmos.com, forbiddenplanet.com, comicsbugle.com, readcomics.com, DCBS, Tales of Wonder, In-Stock Trades, Panelbound Comics, and of course your local comic book store. Everything underneath the dust jacket is the same. So let's shift the focus back to this and look at the spine. Heroic Signatures, Titan Comics, Conan the King, the original Comics Omnibus. And there's that image of the very kingly, I guess, royalty Conan, and then Volume 2. By the way, even though it says Conan the King, the original comics, it's so weird because it is still in solicitations and in the catalog called King Conan, the original comics omnibus. Marvel did the exact same thing. And this is also when they changed the name officially of the comic book to Conan the King. Barbarian, thief, mercenary, and now Conan is king. You have the ISBN down there, Heroic Signatures, Titan Comics logo, what it collects. The retail price of this one is $125. Let's say you have the first printing and you then pick up the new printing of Conan the King. This is what it will look like right next to your Volume 1 that was published by Marvel Comics. Conan the King, the original Marvel years is what they called it, but over here is Conan the King, the original Comics Omnibus. Volume 1, Volume 2, Alan Selenitz, Marc Silvestri, Don Krar, Mike Dougherty, and Judith Hunt. So, let's take the dust jacket off to look at the flaps. Over here, Conan at War, and a little bio on the creators on the right-hand side. And there is a lot of war in this one. The spine of the book, which is, of course, identical to the spine of the dust jacket. Maybe the color is just a little darker. And then the logo on the back. So let's go ahead and open this book up and show off this artwork and talk about some of the stories found in here. Look at the extras, and then, of course, the build. Okay, let's go ahead and get this opened. I never forget to point out the fact that with the Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics version of these Omnis, you get those end sheets. Conan the King, the original Comics Omnibus. You have Alan Selenitz, Marc Silvestri, Don Krar, Mike Dougherty, and Judith Hunt. The folks from Heroic Signatures, the folks from Titan Comics, and special thanks to Nick Elkins and Corey Settlemeyer. And here are your actual credits. So you have not just the folks I mentioned, but you also have Jeff Isherwood and Dave Simmons. And your inkers and finishers over here, like Mary Severin, Heidi Candelario. I just talked about him in the Deadpool and X-Force Omnibus, how long he's been at the game. Armando Gil and Vince Coletta and Art Nichols, just to name a few. And illustrators, of course, Michael Kaluta and Andy Kubert. Rick Parker, who actually does the introduction here, and Janice Chang are your letters, and colors is George Russo's. And table of contents, and this amazing image. I don't want to spoil who that is. Introduction here is by Rick Parker, and he talks about lettering, like actually talking about the process of lettering and how much they paid back in the day, and his own little strip, how it actually ran through the letter pages, and just how amazing it is that he's still in the field doing this stuff, and how long he worked on comics, and true master. Oh gosh, this cover. So, collected in here is the official King Conan, or rather Conan the King, because the title was King Conan, but they changed it to Conan the King, 20 through 35. So this book has a total of 688 pages and retails for $125. You saw that cover, so I'm just going to go ahead and say spoilers for what's happening through this comic. Half of the book is drawn by Marc Silvestri. It is so... Actually, no, more than half of the book is drawn by Marc Silvestri. So what ends up happening at the very beginning is that you have Prince Khan of Aquilonia, Conan's son, one of Conan's sons, not all of them. You have him and a bunch of just military men trying to cross into this new land that they probably shouldn't be crossing, and it's part of the Eastern Gunderland. So, in this story, as it takes place, it's a huge turning point for Conan. The prince apparently is killed. And eventually, the news of his death is delivered by the one survivor of this attack. They don't know who the attackers were. They don't really know who sent them. But Conan is made aware that his prince, Prince Khan of Aquilonia, is dead. So Captain Lysias dies, and then you have Lysander here, who doesn't have a name at first. Like, he's given a name later on. And then, of course, you have Count Trocero and Queen Zenobia, his wife, mourning the death of her child. And what this issue really does is it shows you how he becomes king, and about some of the prophecies about his kingdom, and not necessarily his son. So you get a little bit of that. You get to see how Conan becomes king, and you get to see what is going on with Prince Khan. Now, as the story progresses, you'll see that, again, spoilers. I love this. This became a house ad, by the way. And again, the Kaluta covers are just icing on the cake. But you get to see that Prince Khan isn't really dead. Of course not, right? How can he be dead? But it's really what happens to all these characters while the king believes that his son is dead. People are trying to kill him, and you've got him forming a new band of, like, military. They're called the Black Dragon. So you have Leonidas, you've got Centaur, and you've got Tarkin, and, oh my gosh, who else? Marcon. Sorry, I'm trying to remember some of the names. Hey, this is what I was talking about. Yeah, by Scully right here. And letter pages intact, like always. But anyway, there starts to be backup stories that focus on the son of Conan. You get to see him escape. You get to see how he lives. You get to see him fight off wolves. This is drawn by Marc Silvestri and Alan Selenitz doing the story. And then you go back to the main storyline. So you got the Black Dragons that are trying to find him, and you've got King Conan dealing with his own family and also assassination attempts. He's dealing with his own son and daughter and just the aftermath of everything that's happened. Because, as I mentioned, Khan is not his only son. You have Prince Taurus, who's jealous of Khan. So it almost becomes like a magazine or a comic book about the family and reacting to the death of a child, while they don't know that the kid is out there living in the woods, making friends with somebody, getting prisoned, getting sold to enslavers. And the black dragons don't know where he is. There's just rumors that perhaps that he's alive. And yeah, he makes friends with this girl while he's enslaved, and you can see how that turns out. So what ends up happening through here is you have this conflict now between the son, one of the sons, Prince Taurus, and his father. Because he doesn't think that his father loved him as much as he loved Con. He thinks that Con is perfect, so it's almost like a rivalry. Now, he also has a daughter, Princess Radegund of Aquilonia. Now, Princess Radegund is... she has promised her hand in marriage to someone else, but she ends up falling in love with one of the Blackguard through here. As you figure, that's going to cause some complications throughout the story that Conan is not going to like, but we don't have to worry about that first. Prince Taurus hates his brother so much that eventually he actually makes a pact with Xandra right here to kind of become or transform into a demonic type of character. And you can find out what happens when he's kidnapped and just how much of a little jerk he is, especially when maybe he finds out that his brother is still alive, and you can see how he reacts to that, because jealousy just goes a long way with that character. This goes on for a while. Like, Con goes through many different places. He ends up going to this Asian place, or Asian-themed place, of course. We are talking about the Hyborian Age. While Conan and his family still believe that he is dead. And again, you have the princess here being in love with Leonidas, who's one of the Blackguard, and then, of course, the ramifications of that happening. And you'll see this image right here. I'm not going to say who that is, but you can find out for yourself. We have stories that don't really focus on Conan that much. There's eventually stories that just focus on some of his nemesis that are trying to take over the kingdom and some of the things that they're trying to do. And again, beautiful artwork by Mark Silvestri. This is a reunion of Conan, now who's older, with none other than Red Sonja. Because King Conan finally has a conflict that he can't ignore. And Red Sonja comes back into his life. And, oh man, it's just so cool to see, like, older character, or they're older, right? But they've known each other most of their life, like a majority of their lives. And again, he believes his son is dead. So this story does go on for a while. And that's all I will say about it until we get to the next arc. Because the next arc is what the back of the book states that, and let's see. No, it doesn't. Maybe it was, where did I see that? The Conan is going to war. Maybe it's at the very beginning. Anyway, there is war coming. And it's coming in an alliance of characters. So you've got King Tarascus of the he's the second of Numidia. And you've got Queen Leora of Ophir. And King Xanatus of Argos. Those characters are going to unite to make this army. To make, like, an opposing force against Conan and his military. And King Conan has, like, no choice but to defend Aquilonia from within. And it's so cool to see how he does it. And Con looking a little bit different now. He looks a little bit more like Rambo through here. And you're going to see other characters appear, some other villains that it kind of took me by surprise. But yes, the last part of this book, by now, it is not Alan Zelenis. He ended up leaving the book, but it is Don Krar making Conan and the rest of his forces go to war. So you have Picts that are invading Aquilonia, and they're all being led by all these people. And you have the return of the Black Dragons, but what's going on with the Black Dragons and Leonidas? Is he still in love with the princess? And you have all the drama that's building while this huge war is taking place. And a majority of the book, or at least a third of the book, is nothing but this huge war that is taking place between all of these peoples. Did I say all these peoples? I meant all of these people. There we go. So, eventually King Conan will get his own army, like the followers of Ashura will end up joining King Conan's army to go up against these newly formed allies. So the war for Acolonia goes on for a while. And you can find out exactly how it ends. This is the final issue collected in here. Issue 35. For some reason, this is by Judith Hunt. I thought this was Jim Lee. It's got a very Jim Lee feel to it. And let's look at the extras after the letter pages. So we do have pinups. And these are the house ads that I remember seeing in comic books, like X-Men. And I'm like, what? They kill Conan's son? That's messed up. Of course, you get to find out through here how exactly all that played out. Michael Kaluda's original artwork here. Mike Silvestri's. I think this is the original page that became the house ad. Dave Simmons inking it. And then original pages through here. And your end sheets. So let's talk about the build of this book. 688 pages. It is sewn binding, and there's that eye. There is a little bit of bleed through with this one, more so than I noticed in the previous Conan Omnis from Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. And it's just a little bit, but, you know, it's something that I look for. I don't think most people sit around reading a book going, let's put a couple of big LED lights and see if it bleed throughs or not. But it does have a little bit of that. Now, what I want to show is the double page spread. So let's get to one here. So here is a double page spread. Everybody celebrating, and poor King Conan here not being able to celebrate. So very minimal gutter loss right there. But that is King Conan, the original Comics Omnibus Volume 2, or Conan the King, the original Comics Omnibus Volume 2. One more to go. One more. That's it. That will wrap it up. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in graphic novels. They have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec, and their website, bdcosmos.com, offers 25% off your order of over $99 or more, and free shipping everywhere in Canada for every order of $250 or more.
Their shipping care is exceptional. Your books will stay cozy through the rough Canadian weather and arrive to you in near mint condition.
After checkout, let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way, and you'll be added to the monthly $25 gift card raffle. Entries are valid for new and returning customers.
Don't be afraid to call or email them. Ask them questions. Their staff is always happy to help guide you towards the right purchase. Visit their website, bdcosmos.com, for more. BD Cosmos, with rewards and raffles taking care of customers in Canada. Eh?
And that was the content, the page count, and build of this book. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, if you are continuing the tradition of getting Conan Omnis that was started, of course, by Marvel Comics, and now Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. But let me know what other Conan book you would love to see in this format. Any questions? Leave those down below. Smash that like button on the way out. By Crom, the King is back.